Okay, everybody, welcome aboard. Here we are at Archerfield Airport in Brisbane, and we will be doing a short flight today over to North Stradbroke Island to a little island strip called Dunwich, call sign Yankee Delta Uniform November, or YDUN. And so here we are parked at Archerfield Airport at the moment. We have a clear day. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. And we're in the Beech Baron. You can see us here. We're parked in the general aviation area, and we'll be commencing our flight very shortly. It's going to be a VFR flight, VFR standing for Visual Flight Rules. So it means that the pilot will be responsible for his own separation from other aircraft around him. I don't need to file a flight plan. I'll be under 250 knots of speed, and I'll be under 10,000 feet. So we're just sitting here. I'm going to go through a few checks shortly and we'll get going. So first up, I'm going to try and give you a bit of an explanation of all of the two systems here in front of us, the two screens. It's a Garmin 1000 navigation system, and I'll just get some power into the system now. I'll get the engines running so that we've got some power to run all of these instruments for us. So we're just getting it set up here now, just making sure the propellers are in place. We're bringing the mixture settings up to just over halfway between lean and rich. We put the beacon light on, which is our red light on the top of the aircraft, which just lets everybody know that there's a pilot on board and that an engine start is imminent. And we're going to go to our right engine first. We need to go down and turn our fuel taps on. Fuel taps are on, which means that the fuel is now flowing into the engine. We've got our engine pumps in the electrically on now, not just relying on gravity. They're being electrically fed for an engine start, and we'll continue that for the climb out as well. So all that being equal, we've got a dispatcher there to our front left, just letting them know that we'll be starting engine 2, which is this one over here first, and just move ourselves around to the start position, and it's clear, prop. And we're turning the generators on now for engine 2. We're now back over to engine 1, which is here at our left, so we're just letting the dispatcher know that we're going to be starting engine 1, and clear, prop. And we've got two engines running now, and they're displayed here on this screen here, the engine instrument. So we're just going to let those warm up. Fuel at the moment is showing over halfway, more than enough for what we need to do for our flight today. So whilst that's spooling up and we've got some power and some oil pressure building up into the engines, we'll just go over here to this display over here, which is the multi-function display. It's got a range button that you can zoom in and zoom out. So when we zoom right in, that's us at Archerfield Airport. This little white symbol here is us. We've got to taxi out once we get our air traffic control clearances. We've got to taxi out onto these runways that they will allocate to us. On this side we have the primary flight display, which we have on the left hand side here is our speed and then our altitude. These are our nav radio frequencies, which we can control from using these buttons here. And on this side is our communication radio, which we control from over these buttons here. There's a whole range of soft key options across the bottom here. We won't go into those at the moment. So we're sitting here at Archerfield, and we're going to, it's a short trip over to Dunwich today. It's probably only about a 15-minute flight across Moreton Bay. We actually go straight across Brisbane International Airport. Archerfield, where we are at the moment, is a general aviation airport where it's only used for sort of lighter aircraft. No major airlines come in and out here. They will all fly over to Brisbane International. So we're looking pretty good to get going here. I'm just going to put some more external lights on, our strobe lights, our beacon lights are already on, and our navigation lights are on. We need to get our taxi lights on. Flaps will pick up when we do our departure check. So I'm just going to start idling up. I'm now going to bring in my flight assistant who's going to handle the radios for me because it gets pretty busy. And secondly, I'm going to bring up the tower. And we are going to depart straight out, so request a taxi.
Archer ground, Beechcraft Victor Hotel Tango Echo Zulu with Charlie request taxi for takeoff departing straight out.
Beechcraft Victor Hotel Tango Echo Zulu taxi 2 and hold short of runway 28 right using taxiway Juliet 1 Hotel Bravo 1. Contact tower on 123.6 when ready.
Taxi 2 and hold short runway 28 right using taxiway Juliet 1 Hotel Bravo 1 Beechcraft Tango Echo Zulu.
Okay, so they've given us a taxi to runway 28 right. So on this screen here you can see that's us. 28 right is this one here that goes out that way to the west. So we've got a taxi around across the front of the buildings here and then all the way onto the threshold of 28 right. So we'll start to do that now. Flaps are now down. The parking brake is off, and we're going to come out and turn left here onto the taxiway. This dispatcher, these people in the game are sacrificial, so we can just basically drive straight through them. Sorry, mate. And we're going to taxi around out onto the taxiway. You can see it's here. That's us here. Now making our way up to 28 right. At some point along here I'm going to have to do a run up with both of these engines to do a mag check before I do take off, and I'll do that up in front of these hangars up here just a little bit further so I'm out of everybody's way. So I'll just pull over to the left up here and we'll do our mag check. So we'll just pull in to here. Here, and this will do us for the time being. Parking brake on. Now what needs to happen, I will bring the throttles up to on the right hand engine, so you can see it here coming up to 2000 revs. I'm going to turn and there's no drop. That's good. Revs come back down to go back over to engine 1. Into 2000 revs. Back down, 2 notches back and check the mags, check. No drop. All good. And throttle back. Continue out now to the threshold. Park brake on. And continuing out along that taxi line. This should be 280.
Hold position, caution, other traffic.
Hold position Beechcraft Tango Echo Zulu.
don't have time today to hold. So we're just going to continue out onto the threshold of 28 right. Just confirm we are at the correct runway by checking our signage there on the right hand side. There it is there, runway 28 right. We're going to hold here and just do a final check before we get onto the runway. So first up, we're going to make sure propellers are full. Mixture is now
Archer
going
Tower,
clear.
Beechcraft, Victor Hotel, Tango, Echo Zulu,
Pumps
ready
are
at
on.
runway 28 right,
All
departing straight
generators,
out.
traffic lights on, landing lights up.
Beechcraft, Victor Hotel, Tango, Echo Zulu, wind calm straight out, departure approved. Cleared for takeoff, runway 28 right.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 28 right, Beechcraft, Tango, Echo Zulu.
Okay, ready to go. All clear. Those directions, no one's landing. Got our clearance. Let's go flying. Confirming 28 right again. So we're going to fly out of here and make a right hand turn and climbing up to climb up to about 4,000 feet. Setting that now on the vertical speed and the altimeter. They're all good to go. 40% power. Checking the engines. 2 good engines. Holding with the brakes. Increasing power and rolling. Tango Echo Zulu is rolling. Maintain center line. Full power. Speed check is 50 knots, 70 knots, plus 10 to 90, and we are rotating. Positive rate. Maintaining full power, climbing through 200 feet. Still under manual flying at this point. Stabilised at 150 knots. 500 feet. Going to autopilot with heading and vertical speed. Throttling back to 75% power. Commence a right hand turn to the north. Speed is 160. Flaps can come off. Come back across to Brisbane. It's the brown snake of the Brisbane River. And just showing the MFD here. This is the sort of range out, so we can sort of see where we're going and where we're heading to. Is Dunwich, which is here to the right. So on this screen we are here and we're flying to here. So if I go to the heading bug, see the directional arrow that's coming around, swinging it all the way around to heading the direction of Dunwich, which is over to there, and you can see the aircraft is turning in that direction. So we're turning. Bring that range in a little bit closer. As you can see now, here we are, and here is Dunwich. If we again use the directional, this directional arrow here, takes us in a straight line to Dunwich, which is straight over here. Over here on the other side is the primary flight display. This is our airspeed. We've just come back to 50% power, so it's coming back to around about 160
Beechcraft Tango Echo Zulu leaving my
Still
airspace
climbing
frequency
slowly
change approved.
at 650, 700 feet a minute up to 4,000 feet.
Archer Tower Beechcraft Victor Hotel Tango Echo Zulu frequency
We're now
change.
going to 3,000 feet, not 4, at 750
Approach
feet.
Beechcraft Victor Hotel Tango Echo Zulu is type
Still
Beechcraft,
take a bit
be
more of that
58
fire.
miles north of Archer, 2,500 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
Beechcraft Victor Hotel Tango Echo Zulu approach. Squawk 0423.
Squawk 042 Beechcraft Tango
Our
Echo Zulu.
transponder heading 0423.
Beechcraft Tango Echo Zulu radar contact 5 miles northeast of Archer, 2,900 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace, Beechcraft Tango Echo Zulu.
So just pulling up the nearest airport list. So number 5 is Dunwich Airport, Yankee Delta Uniform November, which is straight ahead of us up here on the screen, which is that one over here, YDUN. So we're going to select that, we're going to select a runway for landing, and it will be 15 today.
Yankee Delta Uniform November
Yankee
traffic
position.
Beechcraft Victor Hotel Tango Echo Zulu 18 miles west 3,000 feet inbound to land runway 15.
Okay, so we're 18 miles west of Dunwich Airport, and at the moment we're flying straight at it. What we will need to do is go to the left a little bit to make a right-hand turn onto the strip to do our Dunwich Airport is on North Stradbroke Island, which is this island that is here. It's a sand island, and consequently the airstrip is grass and sand as well, so that presents a couple of little tricks in terms of landing because it's a very soft material, not like a hard bitumen or concrete. So we're going to just make a bit of a course correction here to head a little bit to the left. You can see us here. We want to come a little bit this way so there's room to make that right hand turn. So they've got a Peel Island which is here in the middle. We're going to come on the left hand side of that and make that turn onto 15. That's Peel Island there. So we're just going to come through here and come in there. So we're back to 160 knots, which is pretty comfortable for us at the moment. And just making our way across, we'll be over the top of Cleveland or Manly, Manly, that area at the moment. You can see how much of a sand island North Stradbroke Island is. You see all these sand mountains. Right up at the very end, this Point Yosemite and then Point Lookout is right over here. Very beautiful. So I'm starting to think about our landing now and setting ourselves up for that. Just further left, so plenty of space. My altitude, I'm going to come down to 2,000 feet, maybe a little bit further up. I'm going to set it at 1,500, 1,600 feet, 1,500 feet. And I'm going to commence a slow descent down to that. I don't muck around with my airspeed too much. As soon as we start descending, you can see that the airspeed starts increasing, so I'm going to bring the power back a little bit as to not increase that speed. And so you also see now that we've started, we've now started descending slowly at 500 feet a minute, down to 1,500 feet. So when we get over here, this is us here, just coming over the top of Wellington, I think it is. And by the time we get over here, I want to be down to 1,500 feet when we make that right hand turn to fly. So airspeed and altitude is critical at this point. Another thing, of course, when we've got to, after we've landed, is we've got to get out of Dunwich again on a sand and grass runway. So airspeed, ground speed is all very important, and it's surrounded by trees, so it can be a little bit tricky. Today's a clear day. We haven't really got too many issues with weather and sort of crosswind looking south down to the Gold Coast and down to Coolangatta. This is in Moreton Bay, North Stradbroke in front of us, and that's Moreton to the left. And back to the shipping lanes, that's Brisbane Airport over to the left there. Port of Brisbane is in behind us. So just a snapshot where we are. We're at 1900 feet at 160 knots. Just get this to check now. That's us here. That's Dunwich. The runway runs this way, so we'll be landing that way. Down to 1500 feet. Airspeed under control. We're going a bit fast. We're about 260. Landing speed today will be between 90 and 95 knots. Preferably closer to 90 because I've got to pull up in that sand. So we're just levelling off now. I'm actually going to take manual control of the aircraft, so autopilot is off. So there's Dunwich, that's us. Runway outside now.
Yankee Delta Uniform November traffic Beechcraft Victor Hotel Tango Echo Zulu is on final runway 15 to land.
Knots, 1150 feet. Put the runway in sight. Final calcs.
500.
Green lights are on. 500 feet. Just a little bit of trim. That's a little center line right. 100 knots. 600 feet. And we're just going to start moving this down. We've got to come over the tops of the trees at the end of the runway. Liking this so far. We've got our speed under control. We're at 100 knots, 98. Just holding it down. We're over the end of the threshold now. We're holding it here. See how I had to fight with it just on touchdown because of the effect of the sand on the aircraft when it touches down on the ground. We touched down at a speed there of around about 160 knots, 160 kilometres per hour. So all in all, that was a pretty good landing. I'm just going to do a differential turn here in the left engine to power us around. and the brakes, and we can just park here at the end. So, hey, thanks for watching. That's our short trip over to Dunwich from Archerfield.